What are you doing? Stop!
You are tougher than that itch. Look at me. You're stronger than that itch. You're not a mere mortal, son. You are a Pearson.
A chickenpox outbreak takes over the Pearson house, Kevin stresses over his knee injury, and Kate drops some big news on this week's episode of This Is Us. Let's break it down. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it is time for another recap of This Is Us. Now, this episode, called Still There, saw the return of Rebecca's mother, played by Elizabeth Perkins, Kevin dealing with his knee injury, and a bombshell was dropped about Kate. So let's get the recap started. So in the past timeline, when the big three are 10, we get to see the family trying to figure out what videos to rent as a snowstorm is about to hit. And I actually kind of love this little bit of the show because it's some nostalgia for all of us that grew up with Blockbusters and had to worry about what movies to rent, or were sad when someone rented all three Karate Kids like Kevin was. I know, I was bummed about that once. R.I.P. Blockbuster. Well, it turns out Kevin gets the chicken pox followed by Kate, and so far Randall is pox-free, but he's desperately trying to get them from his siblings so he can get them over with before the big science fair arrives. Rebecca ends up calling her mom to make sure she's had the chicken pox, but her mom kind of takes it as an invite to surprise the family and offer her services in helping taking care of the sick kids. Let's just say no one is thrilled to see her, except maybe the kids for a second because she's brought them presents. Grandma keeps saying things that rub Rebecca the wrong way until she finally snaps and confronts her mother. Long story short, Rebecca calls her mother out for being a racist. Rebecca ends up telling her mom off and tells her to leave when the snow is gone because she doesn't want to expose Randall to that anymore. And as Rebecca goes to walk away, she realizes Randall has been standing behind her this whole time and heard everything, when all he really wanted to do was show her that he got the chicken pox. By this time, Jack has actually ended up with the chicken pox as well, and he and Rebecca have to explain to Randall the different forms racism can take, which is all kind of opening Randall's eyes. The next morning, Jack and Kevin brave the chicken pox and go out in the snow to shovel out the driveway so Grandma can leave since everybody's been avoiding her. When Rebecca goes to tell her mom that the car is free, her mom tells her she couldn't sleep all night and all she's been thinking about was what happened the night before. Grandma brings up how she grew up in a different time and all this feels foreign to her, and in a way kind of seems like she's making excuses, and she tries to tell Rebecca that she's been trying, but Rebecca says she shouldn't have to try. It does seem like Grandma is getting a grasp on what's been happening, and as she goes to say bye to Randall, he kind of gives her the cold shoulder, and Grandma decides, okay, she's going to take this time to make things right, so she sits down and then takes an interest in Randall's science fair project, which he had been trying to show her the day before. She eventually says to Randall, "You're a special young man, aren't you?" And Randall just simply replies with this:
"Took you long enough."
Now, watching Rebecca and her mom's relationship, parts of that I can definitely see mirrored with Rebecca's relationship to Kate. Moving on to Kevin, he's been trying to hide his knee injury at work, but is finally found out by producer Brian Grazer in a nice little cameo. The doctor tells Kevin he has a torn meniscus and they can help him with some surgery to get him back in shape for work because production said that they could move things around in order to kind of wait for him. We also learned Kevin stopped taking his pain pills because he didn't like the way that they were making him feel. Kevin gets the surgery and goes to stay with Kate and Toby while he recovers, and it seems like Kevin's taken the toughen up and be tougher than the itch advice his dad gave him back when they had the chicken pox a little too seriously. Kevin immediately takes off his knee brace, and then we see him trying to work out on the treadmill. Yeah, he's just rushing his recovery. And Toby is totally not happy with this, as he's the voice of reason in this episode. Kevin explains to Toby how his knee ruined his life 20 years ago when he was a great football player and was even being scouted by colleges. He had his whole life and future planned, but it was taken away from him in a second. So he started to act to pass the time, but eventually he started to get the same thrill from that he got from football. And now he's worked 20 years to get to where he is with his big shot with this movie, that he's not going to let his knee ruin his life again. We then see Kevin trying to work out his knee while watching some old football games from his high school days that Jack recorded. While watching these, Kevin sees just how excited Jack was for him, how proud he was, and Jack even calls Kevin tough as hell. Kevin then pauses the game on a frame of Jack's face where Jack is just like super proud of him, and we see Kevin go over to his bottle of pills and take one. Flash forward a few weeks, or what seems like a few weeks, and Kevin is back at work and his knee seems to be okay. Now, seeing the image of Kevin looking at the face of Jack on the TV and then popping the pill, it seems like everything is still leading towards the fact that Kevin has had some kind of addiction to these pain pills in the past. And When he said he'd do whatever it takes to get better, seems like he is going down that dark road again. Moving on to Randall, Beth, and their new foster daughter, Deja. Deja has been at the house a few weeks now, but her hygiene has been causing some concerns with Beth and Randall. It hasn't been that great, and she's not taking care of her hair, and the two don't really know quite how to handle that situation. Randall tells Beth he wants to take the lead with this situation, and he wants to make Deja feel comfortable, like she fits in, before they say something that could alienate her. So, his plan? Take the kids bowling. But it seems to backfire because a girl behind them in line calls Deja's hair nasty, and Deja pushes the girl, and then the other girl's dad and Randall start to get in an argument, and Deja eventually walks out. Back at the house, Randall is randaling out over why he thought Deja would like bowling and how he's trying to handle the situation. It's just not working. He's making things worse, so he tells Beth to talk to Deja. The next morning, Beth goes to do just that and sees that Deja's already packing her bags because she thinks she's getting kicked out for pushing that other girl. Beth tells her she's not, just don't do it again, otherwise you'll be grounded. And then she starts to talk about her own sisters and her mom and how they'd be at each other's throats, but then they'd always have each other's back and they'd do each other's hair. And she's just trying to relate to Deja and drop kind of hints. She then tells Deja that she's not sure why she's not doing her hair, but they have to get it taken care of. And Beth even offers to take Deja to her own salon. Instead, Deja, though, asks Beth if she'll do her hair. Now, as Beth is doing Deja's hair, she kind of sees what's been causing Deja some stress. There's some patches of her hair missing. And Beth tells Deja her sister had that problem too, or her sister has that problem too. She has alopecia, which seems like something Deja has never heard of. Deja seems to start trusting Beth and opens up to her about how the spots and the bald patches happen when bad things happen, like her mom getting in trouble or moving houses. Beth then tells Deja she's really gotten good at braiding hair to cover her sister's patches, and she can do the same thing for her, and Deja agrees. Now, Deja seems super happy with the cool new braids that she's gotten, and when Randall comes in to apologize to Deja about everything, he starts to try to relate to her, so he relates his panic attacks that he suffers from to what Deja's going through, and he explains how running really helps him, and he offers for her to come run with him. Well, things seem nice and dandy for a second. Seems like Randall's starting to relate to Deja, except that, yeah, that's not true. Deja's actually very upset that Beth told Randall about her issue, because she thought it was kind of like a mother-daughter bond trusting thing. And now that trust seems to be broken, so what does Deja do? She goes and chops off every one of those braids to reveal a really short haircut. Every little step towards trust, something happens to just tear it back down. Alright, lastly, let's go to Kate. She has a big gig coming up, her first kind of big event, or a bar mitzvah as it turns out to be, and it seems like she's kind of obsessing and working out a ton, eating healthy in order to fit into a dress. Now, she's so committed to all of this stuff that it has Toby worrying that something worse could be happening here. We even see Kate go to the drugstore, and the camera focuses on the aisle of laxative and things to make it seem immediately like, uh-oh, is she taking extreme measures just to try to lose weight to fit into this dress because she thinks this gig is so important to her? Well, that feeling seems to be heightened when Kate is actually in the dress trying it on. She looks really good, and Toby comes in and tries to tell her she looks fabulous, but something is off with Kate and she doesn't seem happy. So what's her deal? Well, we end the episode with Kate at the doctor, and the doctor is commending her for all the healthy things she's doing. And then Kate shows her a bottle of vitamins, asking if they're the right vitamins. And then it's kind of like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Vitamins were also in that aisle with the laxatives. So she's getting healthy vitamins and certain types of vitamins. So what could this mean? We learned that Kate is in fact 6 weeks pregnant. And I have to actually say I didn't really see that coming, but I'm really glad that that is what happened. And it was something happy rather than having to see Kate go down a dark path like the eating disorder or the, that kind of stuff, because so much dark stuff is kind of happening on the show that someone needs to have something happy here. At this point in the show, Toby doesn't know that Kate is pregnant yet. I'm kind of betting Kevin doesn't even know, and that Kate has just been keeping this secret to herself. So how will Toby react to the big news? Well, looks like we're going to get that answer next week, so let's roll the promo.
We're pregnant.
Excuse me? You sure you don't want to go to this gala tonight?
Can I come? You really think she's ready?
This is my opportunity to connect with her.
I understand you've already refilled the prescription one more time than you should have. But you can't help a guy when he's in pain.
Jack, your dad. He is dying.
Hi, I'm Jack's wife.
Kate tells Toby, and at this point we can't really tell if he's happy, shocked, upset, what he's thinking, especially since they decided they wanted to take things slow, but like a baby, totally not taking things slow. It's also confirmed pretty much that Kevin has an addiction to pain pills, and in the past timeline, Jack's father is dying, but it seems like Jack doesn't want to see him, so Rebecca goes instead. Now with this pregnancy news, I gotta say, I think Toby would be such a good and fun dad. Like, just watching him in this episode trying to take care of, you know, Kevin and also looking out for Kate. Yeah, I'm really hoping he's happy about this pregnancy news. It also seems like Kate's pregnancy is definitely a high risk one, so I'm hoping the show, though, doesn't really go down that dark path of having anything bad happen to the baby or Kate. Like, I just want everyone to be happy and healthy. As far as my favorite performances from this episode, I think it has to go to Mandy Moore and Chris Sullivan for this week. I liked Rebecca's storyline, especially watching her kind of confront her mother, getting up that courage, showing that side of her, and then also just the Toby and Kevin dynamic. I just love it. Now it is time for you to hit the comments with your thoughts on this week's episode. What were your favorite and least favorite moments? Which storyline was your favorite? And what did you think about the big news that Kate is pregnant? Let me know. Then you can check out more of my videos right over here. And if you like what you see, feel free to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, because I'll be here all the time recapping some of my favorite TV shows, with interviews, all kinds of things. So check it out. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time.